How your baby feeds is going to affect their airway health, their orthodontic development, and even how they look. For an ideal growth and development, you'd like the baby to breastfeed for at least 6 months, but that's not always possible. So today we're going to look at some bottles, we're going to talk about some principles of effective bottle feeding, and look at a few examples. Shape matters. If you've watched my other videos, you know how I feel about the shape of things that kids have in their mouths. But an ideal shape is going to have a wide flange. It's going to encourage the kids' lip to flange outward, like up, in both directions, while feeding. An ideal shape is going to not be symmetrical. Symmetrical shape is not physiologic. A human breast does not stay in a symmetrical shape when it's being used to suckle. Another thing, the tip needs to have a very small opening. You don't want milk flow coming too fast out of these. A baby needs to work for the milk, and it shouldn't just free flow, so you're looking for a small hole. Another principle of good bottle feeding is do not rest the bottle on the kid's face. If the baby's feeding, don't just put it in there, tip it up against something and leave it. It should be held lightly. You're not asking the baby to come towards it, but you're also not pressing it into them. One final thought on bottles today. For many babies, their desire to suckle is not met through feeding alone. If that's the case, do not use a bottle or another way of feeding to meet that demand. By doing that, you're putting too much food in the mouth too frequently. You run a really high risk of getting dental decay, which is called early childhood caries, and you do not want that. If the child needs to suck on something else, consider a well-designed pacifier and use it appropriately.